So the first one on the list isn't anything too flashy, but a reliable SSD is something that makes my content creation life easier while traveling on the road. I've used to rock SanDisk Pro SSDs, but one got corrupted, and to be quite frank, their customer service is pretty atrocious, and I almost lost one big video shoot I was working on because dumb me, I forgot to back it up. But anyways, I've switched full time to the Samsung T7 and the T7 Shield, and I got it about 2 to 3 years ago during Black Friday. I think it was about 40 to 50% off, and at that time, my wallet didn't cry jumping into a new brand, but the main reason why you want an SSD is to have fast offload times. So when you've done your shoot or you've just finished traveling for the day and you're ready to back up your files, anything under 500 gigs of footage or photos is only going to take you around 10 minutes to back up. Now, I rarely fill my 128 gig SD card anyways, so it'll take less time for me to back up. A thing to note is that your SD card or any media that you use in your cameras needs to be fast as well. I have a 300 megabytes per second read and write speed for my SD card, so that's going to be a bottleneck if you have a slower card. So if you have a 300 megabytes per second read and write, that's about less than 10 minutes of transfer time. Pro tip: don't max out your storage on any storage like SD cards or SSDs. Always stay around 80% so it's not overloading. If you fill it to the brim, you'd risk having files corrupted, and you don't want that to happen. So general rule of thumb, always stay around 80% or less. Now, my current workflow right now is do a double backup. I'll offload the footage into the T7 Shield and then do another backup from the T7 to the normal T7. It's cheaper and smaller in size, and this is always hiding in my backpack anyways for safety. And any outdoor or on the spot file transfers would be the T7 Shield. And let's say you're on set and multiple people needs to have that SSD passed around, then the T7 Shield is a good way to go because it is rugged and weatherproof. So I know it'll be safe even if someone drops it. After I get home from the trip, I back it up to my Lacy drives. These are archives, so I have a third backup. I do want to invest in a NAS, but I mean, Lacy drives still work after 7 years in this industry. File management is crucial, especially for a creative. You need the backup of a backup because you never know what would happen, especially if it's client work. If someone's paying you to shoot, you always need a backup. Now, create a system for your file management and you won't make the same mistakes I did, almost losing a project and disappointing a client. And if it's a personal project, you also don't want it to be wasted. You don't want to go to a destination and lose all your precious photos and videos, and always back up your files. Now, I finally invested in some tech pouches, and this specifically is the Nano N-Cubic T3. I bought this last year during Black Friday, and I've always trusted Nano to protect my camera gear, and the quality of their products have always been great, so it's a no-brainer for me. I have their hard cases, the small one, the camera ones, and then the big ones. They've been solid for more than 4 to 5 years now. The reason why this makes my life easier as a creative who's always on the go is organization. You have to have your gear sorted out so you don't have to play kind of a guessing game which pouch or which case, carries what. I have one for my drone stuff, accessories, cables, and I have one for me to reach all the charging cables and hard drives. Now, I always pull out this one because I know most of my used accessories and cables are in this tech pouch, so I bring it out and know exactly what's in it. The key here is staying organized because especially if you're on set, let's say you have a production assistant or someone new helping out, you'd have cases, multiple cases, pouches that are properly labeled, then they'd easily know how to find things for you, thus making life easier and more efficient. So be organized. So me and my partner just finished a 6-week long road trip, and the new Bluetti Elite 30 V2 is a reliable portable power station for my camera gear and electronics. This is one of the most important part of my mobile content creation rig, and Bluetti kindly sent me this product to test out, and everything here is based out of my real use case for this road trip. So all the results are coming from all the testing I've done. So my main use case isn't powering lights, but to charge my devices on the go. I would fly my drone until the battery is almost up, or film with my cameras and finish all my batteries and then charge it on the way to our next destination. Now, if you're wondering how much this can charge at 288 watt capacity, so with the MacBook Pro M1 Pro, it's a 16-inch, I could charge it about 3.5 times. With the MacBook Air M2, we could charge it about 5 times. With the Sony batteries, about 15 times. The Fujifilm X100F, 28 times. iPhone 14 Pro Max, about 14 times. The DJI Mavic Pro, about 2.5 times. DJI Osmo Pocket 3, about 24 times. DJI Osmo Action 5, about 33 times. Now, it's a lot, and it's great so that you don't lose power. You always can capture the content that you need. Now, if you're camping as well, you can use this to power small appliances because it has a powerlifting mode all the way up to 1500 watts, perfect for kettles or toasters. So we've got 9 outlets on this Bluetti Elite 30 V2. There's 2 USB-Cs, one at 100 watts and one at 140 watts, 2 USB-CAs at 15 watts, 3 12-volt DC outlets, and finally 2 120 volts AC outlets. If this runs out of juice, then you have the option to plug it in a normal AC outlet, whether it's in your hotel room, at home, Airbnb, and it will fast charge within 2 to 3 hours. And if you don't have any electricity outlets, let's say you're camping in the middle of nowhere or you're in a remote location, and you can use a 200 watt solar panel during the day. The few times we used it, it was taking in about 100, 130 watts, pointed directly at the sun. And I think the max, it was 150 watts. And it charged about 4 to 5 hours. And it's perfect if you're needing power in a pinch. Now, since we're not flying, we've completely ditched the pocket power banks for this, unless we're going on a long hike, of course. But if you're usually on the road with a vehicle and you're doing kind of hybrid stays at hotels, motels, Airbnb, and a mix of camping, this is the perfect portable power station, weighing only at 4.3 kilograms and a small footprint to cover your power needs during a domestic trip like this. Now, Bluetti has a bunch of other products with different capacities and wattage, and if you need something bigger and stronger, they do have it as well. Next up is something most creatives overlook because we're always thinking about camera gear, but once you've used it, you're never going to want to go back. And that's a portable fridge, specifically the iSco VL45 Pro S fridge/freezer. I know you're probably thinking, a fridge, really? But trust me, if you are doing any kind of travel filmmaking or even remote production work, this is an absolute essential. It might not be directly related to camera gear, but it's key to staying fueled and comfortable during your exploration, creating content in remote locations. You won't have stores near you, and this is the key to keeping you hydrated with cold drinks or keeping your food fresh, especially if you're feeling snacky or you've hiked a long hike and you need some food to replenish your energy. Now, I also run a full-time video production business. A lot of my shoots happen in places where there's no convenience stores nearby or around the corner. I'm doing documentary work, long days on the road, remote locations, and sometimes full day shoots where you're hours away from any kind of supply runs. And when you're out there, having cold drinks and having real food makes a massive difference. If you're like me that get hangry or cranky if you don't have a cold drink on a hot day, it's uncomfortable. But, a cold water bottle at my disposal, I can quickly quench my thirst or snack on some fresh food. Now, I power this fridge with a portable power bank. The Bluetti is there, which is a 288 watt hour. It lasts about a day. And I also have a bigger power station, which is around 500 watt hour, Capacity, it does about 2.5 days depending on the ambient temperature throughout the day. Usually at night it cools down, so the compressor in the fridge doesn't need to turn on as much. But if it's midday and the sun is striking hot, it'll run more consistently. So your mileage may vary depending on the conditions. This fridge also has 2 layer trays where you can just take it out. Let's say you're going to an Airbnb or a studio with their in-house fridge. You can just bring out each tray rather than bringing the whole fridge, especially if the load is heavier, like if it's packed with drinks. This makes it convenient for the crew or yourself if you're traveling and changing places every so often. So yeah, it's not the flashiest tool in my setup, but it's easily one of the most practical. Whether you're filming content, managing a full production, or just road tripping for fun, having a reliable fridge like this just keeps life simple. Less stress, fewer supply runs, and way more comfort on the road. Once you've used one, you'll wonder how you ever managed without it. RGB tube lights are battery powered, fairly soft lighting, and it's easy to rig up. This is probably the most versatile light you'd carry with you on the go, at least in my opinion. What I do carry with me is the Viltrox K90 RGB tube lights, which is basically 4 feet long or a meter long. You can get by with the 2-foot version, especially if you're flying, so you can put it in your suitcase. But if you're on the road with a vehicle, this would be perfect. Now, tube lights are not typically strong, but if you use it to your advantage, it could work really well. What I used this the most was for fill. I'll use the sun as my key light and angle accordingly, and I could angle the fill light as well. This one has magnet clips, so you can place it on your vehicle or anything that you can put magnets on if you do not have light stands or anyone helping you filming. That being said though, if you have someone helping you, they can hold the light without being exhausted because this is lightweight enough to be handheld. With photos and videos, you always need great lighting because if not, you might not have the shot that you want. With an RGB tube light, it comes in clutch, making your life easier while traveling on the road and creating content. So yeah, those are the 5 tools that make my travel filmmaking easier for me. Nothing too flashy, just practical stuff that keeps me efficient, comfortable, and creative on the road. If you have any questions about these tools, or if you have any additional suggestions to your fellow creatives, comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.